Imagine a person sitting in a quiet room, surrounded by the ghosts of lives they have not yet started. In their browser, 20 tabs are open, not for research, but as placeholders for the person they intended to become this morning. There is the half-finished coding course, the unread book on the nightstand about unlocking peak performance, and a resume that feels like a temporary draft for a career they consider beneath their actual ability. To the outside world, you might look like a procrastinator. You might even call yourself lazy, but that's a lie you tell yourself to protect something far more fragile. You aren't lazy, you are trapped. You are an adult living inside the wreckage of a label you were given when you were 7 years old, the gifted child. Welcome to the gifted child trap, the psychological prison where potential is the warden and the fear of being ordinary is the bars. For most of your life, you were told that being gifted was an advantage, a head start in a race everyone else had to run on foot. But there is a secret that your teachers and parents never understood. Giftedness is not a trophy. It is a special need. When a child is labeled gifted, their intellectual abilities often outpace their emotional maturity, a phenomenon called asynchronous development. You were a special needs child whose high IQ was used to mask a lack of basic developmental scaffolding. Because school was an easy clap for you in the beginning, you were allowed to skip the XP grinding of childhood. Think about it. While other children were learning the boring habits of study, how to fail at a math problem, how to manage frustration, how to try again when things were hard, you were coasting on raw intellect. You never learned to grind for level 1 because you started the game at level 50. But in the real world, intellect is a currency that eventually loses its value. You eventually hit a wall, whether in college, a career, or a relationship, where raw brain power is no longer enough. And because you never learned the mechanics of effort, you didn't know how to climb. You didn't just fall behind, you shattered. This brings us to the most dangerous moment of your adult life, the fragility point. Imagine a mansion. Everyone has spent your life looking at your blueprint and telling you how magnificent the mansion could be. They call it your potential. But building a mansion takes exponentially more work, more wood, and a deeper foundation than building a simple shack. When you hit an obstacle that actually requires struggle, your mind does something terrifying. It doesn't think, this is hard, I need to work more. It thinks, this is hard, so I must not be smart after all. If being smart is the only thing that makes you valuable, then encountering difficulty is an existential threat. If you try your hardest and you still fail, you have to face the one truth you've spent your life running from, that you might just be ordinary. To the former gifted child, being ordinary is a death sentence to the ego, and so you choose to burn out instead. Burnout, in this trap, is not a lack of energy, it is a suit of armor. If you are burnt out or anxious or unmotivated, you have a reasonable excuse for why the mansion hasn't been built yet. As long as you never truly start, as long as you live a provisional life, where everything is a draft, you can keep the fantasy of your infinite potential alive. Procrastination is your shield. It allows you to say, I could be the best if I only applied myself, while you sit on the sidelines, safely unjudged because you never stepped onto the field. But in the gap between the mansion you were promised and the life you are actually living, there is only shame. This is the shame gap. It is the heavy weight of an unlived life, passed down from the expectations of those who called you special before you were old enough to know who you were. How do you escape? How do you leave this psychological neverland? The answer is both simple and incredibly difficult. The smart kid inside you must die so the capable adult can be born. You must undergo a rite of passage into the ordinary. You must accept that potential is a bottomless pit that will never satisfy you. You must reclaim your worth not from being better or faster than others, but from the process of productive struggle. You need to build the scaffolding you skipped in the early levels. This means embracing the boring work. Commitment and discipline are not chains that steal your freedom. They are the scaffolding that allows your talent to finally exist in the real world. Stop comparing your foundation to someone else's completed shack. Their shack is finished. Your mansion hasn't even hit the first floor yet, and that's okay. It starts with an ungifted act. Do one thing today that has zero potential attached to it. Clean a drawer. Pay one bill. Set a 20-minute timer and do the task you've been avoiding because you're afraid you won't do it perfectly. Learn to be a C student at something new. Join a class where you are the least talented person in the room. Every time you survive a real messy failure, the fragility point loses its power over you. You are not a hero in a game waiting for a screen to turn on. You are a person whose life is happening right now in the scars and the bruises of reality. It is time to leave the haunted library of unfinished plans. It is time to become the captain of a very ordinary, very real ship. If you recognized yourself in this story, tell us in the comments. What is the smallest, most ordinary step you will take today to finally grow up? The mansion won't build itself, but today you can finally pick up a single piece of wood. See you on the next journey.